All set, Sarah, can you hear us? All right, great. All right, I will call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. First up is committee reorganization and election of officers for the chairman. So I would like to make a motion to have Sarah Fox be the chairperson for this coming school year. I'll second that. Seconded by Megan. Any comments?
Sarah on?
Yes, Sarah's on. Yes.
Thank you. I am honored by the nomination. Thank you very much. Procedurally, do we have, because we don't have a chairman until after the vote, do we have Dr. Bucky facilitate this roll call?
I think I stayed
Okay.
still, but
Okay,
I think
perfect.
passed. So, yeah, so I'll do the roll call vote. I will just say, good luck and have fun. And, the best part about being chair is definitely handing out the diplomas. So enjoy that because it's by far the best part. So, all right, roll call vote. Sarah Gold, yes. Megan Taylor, yes. Emily Barron, yes. Allison Taylor, yes. And Sarah Fox.
Yes.
All right, that carried 5-0.
Thank you very much. And I actually, Sarah will reach out because I could, I'd like to know the protocols that you've been using to make the agendas and with Dr. Bucky and Lisa, and I'm sure you have a lot of good information that you can share. So I will definitely reach out for that. The next agenda item is the election of the vice chair. I'm not sure if anybody has a nomination.
I'm going to nominate Emily Barron for vice chair.
I will second that.
Okay, roll call vote. Sarah Gold,
Yes.
Megan Taylor. Oh, I couldn't hear you. I'm sure, assuming that was a yes. Emily Barron
Yes.
and Allison Taylor.
Yes.
Sarah Fox is a yes. And then for the secretary.
I'm going to nominate Allison Taylor for the rite of passage.
I've heard.
But it really is a good way to kind of
Learning.
get to know
Absolutely.
the system. So
Fully agree. And Lisa is amazing. So wait, I will second it. So Lisa is amazing and does most of the heavy lifting. So yes.
So I will do a roll call vote for that. Sarah Gold,
Yes.
Megan Taylor,
yes.
Emily Barron,
Yes.
Allison Taylor, and Sarah Fox. Yes. I would also say Emily may have some tips on that as well. She's done a lot of work since I was the secretary in converting the technology piece of that because I am very poor at technology. So you might want to connect with her and see what tech pieces she's done and coordinate that. So the next item on the agenda is commendations. Does anybody have any commendations?
I will make a commendation to all of our staff. Congratulations on finishing a really hard school year. Last year was a tough one. And I think, from someone who is actually in a school, this year was tougher. So I really commend all of our staff and the students as well. But, it was a long year and they all got through it and did a great job. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
for sure. I mean, our staff and our students really have shown through this past year, despite its difficulties. So well done. And I'm sure they're going to enjoy their summer break.
Yes, well deserved. Well deserved.
I have one too. I'm going to second that and also add, I'm going to commend our leadership team, teachers, staff, and most importantly, our students for another great year. And I would also like to apologize because once again, you have to go into the next school year without adequate supports, materials, professional development, curriculum, and extra staff, and all the resources that you asked for and you needed that the override would have provided. And I am truly sorry because it is you, our teachers, and our students who will suffer. And I want you to know that you are appreciated by us as a committee and you deserve better. And I'm sorry.
I just want to take a moment to give commendations to all of our staff that will be departing for various reasons. We here in the Marblehead Public Schools are grateful for your presence and for your contributions. And I just wanted to take a moment, congratulate people on the retirements and anybody who's moving on to the next stage, whatever that stage may be, or however you got there, just to wish you well. If are there any further accommodations?
I don't think so.
I will move us on to public comment. I see some hands up in the Zoom, and if Sarah, if you can just tell me, has anybody signed up for in-person
So we've got 2 hands up three hands for in-person public comment.
Okay, that's wonderful. I will go back and forth. I believe is that Cindy Lowen?
Yes, Cindy had her hand up. You don't want to be first? Does anybody want to be first? All right, Kate Thompson said she will be first.
Is there a?
Yeah, come up there.
And just make sure you state your name and address for the record.
I'm like looking right at yourself when you're talking. Kate Thompson, 30 Rubio Road. So I'm here tonight commenting in order to call attention to a letter that's in correspondence materials packet for this meeting. It's signed by 32 members of our community. And I'm not going to read it aloud, just going to make a couple notes. So we started by congratulating both Sarah and Allison on their election. And we also wanted to raise concerns about the ways in which Bree Stallbury and her family were targeted over the course of the last several months. We know that local politics can get messy, but this spring things went way beyond the pale. Sorry. So, moment of levity. Last week, I made a mistake of letting my 8-year-old listen to this meeting. And boy, was that apparent an error. We needed a parental advisory for a couple of moments there. And it's too soon for that joke. All the places are telling me it's way too soon for that. So anyway, with similar sensitivity, I'm not going to read this letter because the details of the ways in which Reese's family were targeted are not kid friendly, and they're not even adult friendly. And it's in the letter, so I encourage people to read it, please. At Village, we ask students to keep each other well, and at Brown, we teach: be brave, be kind, be safe, and be ready to learn. And as parents, community members, and school committee members, each of us bears responsibility to mitigate the hurt and the harm in our actions and our words, online and off. This is a small town. We're neighbors and we're friends and we're coworkers and coaches and family members. But our most important role might be models of behavior. We have to stand up to bullies. We have to call out lies and mean-spirited behavior. We would not allow this sort of thing to happen in our school buildings, and so we should not allow it in our community. This is a new term, and as we've seen already tonight, it represents a fresh start. So as a community, we have an opportunity to move forward in a positive direction with renewed commitment to fairness and kindness. I will read the 3 things verbatim that we asked of the school committee. Number 1, we ask you to please commit to upholding anti-bullying standards online and off in your own behavior and in those around you. This is not to suggest that any city member participated in or had even knowledge of what happened to Reese. But we expect each of you to identify and stand up for this behavior as you see fit. Number 2, that the school committee publicly reaffirm their commitment to maintaining strict confidentiality, such as required in their roles, and in doing so, maintaining and building community trust. And that number 3, no school committee member participates in or continues to serve as an administrator on any local school-related social media site, or participate in school-related discussions on local sites. We suggest that while they can frequent these sites, they should not. It is simply too difficult to avoid conflict of interest and to navigate community discord as an elected official. You can never take off your school committee hat. And you cannot moderate community discord as an elected official, appropriately separating fact from fiction and choosing when to correct inaccuracies and when to let them stand. I'm wrapping it up. The last few weeks in particular were upsetting for all of us, I'm guessing, across campaigns. And our hope is that we can move away from all this and into fairness and kindness in the ways in which we do spoken to business and just in our general relationships. Thanks.
Thank you.
I do want to just say one quick thing. Obviously, most folks know I was an administrator, and 2 months ago when I pulled papers, I made it clear that I was stepping back from those duties. As soon as the final numbers were listed, I was removed. I even removed myself from the children's closet so that I am no longer, just so there's no concern about that. I certainly understand and recognize that. As someone whose son has been bullied at Brown, both physically and emotionally, I get it, and I respect that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm going to do a back and forth here a little bit from in person to online. So just bear with me. I believe Kim Day had her hand up.
Hi, Kim Day, 18 Liberty Road. I just wanted to, I guess, reiterate that I really hope that this is a fresh start with this new committee and this new team that's being assembled. And I think a lot of people, what I've heard over the last few days about the override specifically for question number 2 for the schools is that it's been really tough this past year. And the dysfunction of the school committee has been really hard to watch. And I think that if you guys can come together and be singularly focused on what the goal is and to come back next year and to go for the override and to get our students and our faculty what they need, that needs to be our priority. I know there's a lot of history between you guys, but I hope that you can hear what the community is asking for and that they hope that you can move beyond whatever the history has been, set the tone for how you treat each other and respect each other. And even though somebody may not agree with another member of the committee or with a member of the community, just because somebody disagrees with you, it's not a personal attack. And I really hope that we can come back next year and we can get this override for the kids and for the faculty because they certainly deserve it. It's going to be a long process. We've done these overrides before for the new buildings. We can't take that for granted. We have got to start early. We have got to educate people. We have to be out there talking with them. I think one of the nicest things that I saw during this past election, because there was a lot of bad, was when I was holding signs at Abbott Hall, and down the street from me, there was a gentleman holding a vote no sign, talking with a gentleman who was holding a vote yes sign. There was no fighting. There was no shouting. They literally stood there and they talked for 45 minutes. And I wish I could have been a fly on the wall, right? Because I'm sure that they learned a lot from each other on both sides of the table. So I hope that there's a lot more of those conversations that happen this year and that we come back stronger than ever and we get this passed for our schools. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Kim, for your public comment. If the next person in person can come up to the mic, I think, Cindy, if you're prepared now, I'll divert to you. We'll go one side to the other.
Cindy,
From
do you
I like all
Okay.
I get more. You're gonna miss me. I'm not going anywhere. Anyway, do I need to?
You're good.
Hit that. So I sent a letter to the school committee. I CC'd John, and I did not include Allison because I did not have her email address. So I'm asking for that letter to go to Allison as well as to have it on the record in terms of correspondence. I am not going to read the bulk of the letter. I am just going to say a few things. first of all, I want to express my gratitude for what Kate just shared and said with emotions. Second, I'd like to say that Allison, you mentioned that, your child has been bullied. And so what I have seen, and specifically in terms of social media, is bullying taking place. And I do not think that it belongs in our school community. And I hope that as new members, old members, a change of the gavel, et cetera, that you guys will come together, work together, and do what needs to be done as opposed to some of the stuff that I see on social media. And there's no place for it. And I honestly feel that what I saw last night in terms of asking for school committee and John as well to have Sarah Fox as the chair on social media is unacceptable. I think it is the role of the school committee to decide who is, and not to be pressured by anyone saying whatever they want to say on social media. I felt that it was a witch hunt against Sarah Gold. And I think I even used insurrection in my letter. And you know what? Those terms are not positive terms. So I employed this committee, the new chair, the new vice chair, Allison being a new member, to actually work together. And I also want the 5 members to commit to the funding for the schools. It's unfortunate that it did not pass because, as Emily said, it is the students, it's the teachers, it's the schools that suffer. And unfortunately, this town wanted no on the vote. And that's what we're looking at. And so for the next year, I ask every single one of you to do what you can to get it passed, because we have been working like this, underfunded for years and years and years. And you know what? We can do better in terms of Marblehead. We can do better in terms of our schools. And that's it. Thank you very much. Allison, I welcome you. Sarah Fox, I welcome you as the chair, Emily, vice chair. And I can only say that it's a thankless job for all of you. But I actually do believe that anybody that puts their foot in to this role is committed to the schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy, for your comment. I will move on to Jen Jackson, please.
Jen Jackson, 23 Village Street. I come to school committee tonight as co-chair of the Marblehead CPAC. I wanted to let everyone know that we delivered our certificates this morning to the schools, to the principals for all of the folks that were nominated, along with our booklet that we prepared with all the nominees and the stories that were in here. And we had 40 individuals nominated across all 5 schools. And we even had one crossing guard, the crossing guard over on West Shore Drive by Tower was nominated. And some folks were nominated multiple times. So I just wanted to congratulate everyone that received their Unsung Hero Awards this morning. And we're so lucky to have such wonderful educators in our district.
Thank you so much, Jen. Is there an electronic copy of that? Because I would love to have that put up on our district website. All of those people that are celebrated through the Unsung Heroes Award deserve all the recognition plus more. And I'd love if we could do a link to that.
Sure. So I'll put together a PDF that has everyone's names. I don't want to publish the booklet because there are some specific stories about folks' kids. And so for confidentiality reasons, I don't want to like totally broadcast it, but be happy to do a PDF that at least highlights the names of the folks that were nominated. And we're hoping next year we can do back in person event and have a big celebration.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Welcome.
Was there someone else in the
Yeah.
audience that wanted to speak? I believe there was going to be 3 members and we've heard from 2.
Nicole Cohen is here.
Nicole Cohen, please. Please state your name and address for the record.
Nicole Cohen, 40 Clifton Avenue. I would like to speak to the school committee. Hearing the word "faux" is quite funny. When you guys first started off, I guess everyone wanted to go into this with positive feelings and a new direction. But Emily, when you spoke, you started off and you immediately set the tone with your negative comments, blaming others. And I want people to know that talking to people in the community, it's not that we don't recognize that our schools are not funded, but that we don't trust you. And that we don't trust you because we have watched your behavior, all of you, over the past year. We have watched you bully others. We have watched you create faux, fake. We have watched you just bully constantly. This is known throughout the community. So if you want to blame people for an override not passing, I honestly suggest that you take a step back, reflect upon your own behavior, and ask, would you trust somebody that acted the way that you guys have acted? And the community knows this. Do you know what the word mandate means? A mandate means that the voters have overwhelmingly placed their trust in Allison and Sarah Fox. And that is what they want the community to head in that direction. I hope that you guys can learn, get over the bullying, targeting others. Listen to the community. We did not listen to the community. People overwhelmingly voted for Sarah because they know that she's out there listening to them and addressing their concerns. Not what they want, not what Sarah wants, but what the community wants. What are the needs of the community? There are people and teachers leaving the school system in droves. It is not a happy school system. And we need to address that and make it a better work environment. And yes, maybe we can work together and find a way to fund our schools. But again, with the bullying and with the online, maybe people should just get off Facebook. I'm not on it. I'm a happy person. I suggest others get off of it. But please, take a step back. Know that the community has watched you, listened to you, and has given a mandate against you. So please go forward with a positive attitude. And Emily, when you guys come to here and you start off with something like that, blaming the community, take a step back and say, this is probably not a good idea. Okay? Thank you.
Can I just correct something? I wasn't blaming anybody. I was apologizing to the teachers because they were looking forward to what we had asked them. And they feel that the town don't think that they deserve what they ask and what they need. I'm not blaming anybody. It is a collective community. We all should step back and look at our behavior. I was bullied. I've been bullied through this whole process. So don't accuse me of bullying, okay? You're setting a negative tone by coming and approaching us and saying we are the bullies and we need to step back. All these people are coming to say we need to work together and make a new direction. You need to do that too.
I'm asking you to listen to me.
I'm gonna ask everybody to.
I think that your behavior right there is actually
Nope.
what the problem is.
Sarah, I'm not the host. Can you make me a co-host,
Yes.
please? Thank you. I have given some levity with the public comment, and I promise, I know there's more people. I will get to you. Because I do feel that there's very strong feelings right now on both sides. And I do feel that the common theme we're hearing across every side is that we need to move forward. we need to start from a new place. We need to come together as a community and just find a better path through this. And I think that we will do that. But I think we have to be open, even in public comment, to hearing each other's ideas, even the ones that are uncomfortable to either person. But we also have to be, respectful to everybody. So I will continue. And like I said, I've let public comment go longer, and I've let it go because I think we do need this fresh start, and people need to be heard. But I hope that we can work through this and then reset. The next up was Amanda Rivers.
Hi. I just felt the need to say something at listening to some of these comments at the beginning. I feel like we have a new member on the school committee, and that was going to happen regardless. It was either going to be Reese or Allison. I think a letter and a lot of these comments are already kind of painting the picture that you have her pegged without her even being through one full meeting and seeing her ideas and seeing what she brings to the table. And it would just be really nice, even if your candidate isn't the one that won, that we can support who we do have and give her a chance to show herself and to show who she is as a person and what she's going to bring to this school committee. So I would just hope that, people on here listening to this meeting aren't taking what they're hearing about stuff online seriously, because knowing her personally for like 7 years now, I can say Allison is probably one of the most genuine people I know with such integrity, and we are lucky for her to have run and for her to have been on the board.
Thank you, Amanda. The next person with their hand up was Catherine Martin.
29 West Shore Drive. First of all, Sarah, congratulations on the chair. It's deserved. I wrote a letter to the school committee that is in the packet, and some of the things you've done over the last few years have really shaped our district, whether it's the facilities master plan or the big one was prepaying the out-of-district tuition as we went into the pandemic years as a way to buffer our budget was simply brilliant. And I was on the meeting when you came up with that, and it speaks to good planning. And I hate the term I'm going to echo, but I am going to echo Kim Day's sentiment. Today is a new day. We need funding, and we need a plan for funding. And we all have to come together collectively and coalesce around this idea. And when we look at the priorities for the district, you as a committee and our administration really needs to look at the priorities that the community wants. Student facing, all students' needs, special education students, but also our gifted students. We forget about them as well. We all want to look at these curriculum coaches that we've heard some of our best administrators bring to the table multiple times. We want to address learning loss and regression and move forward with these items, whether it's the social studies curriculum that we've been lacking for so many years. Yes, we do need new textbooks. Yes, that curriculum needs to come together. STEAM is fantastic, but we need a plan behind it. How does it work? Is it cross-curricular? How are we funding it? Is it, again, not a teacher, but these are things we want, but we want to see the plan behind it. And it may not take 1 year to roll out. It may not take 2. It may take 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, inclusion is a big piece. It was really hard for me to support the last override, knowing that special education inclusion, the co-taught model that we've all wanted, all of us special education parents have waited for to not be included. Let's include that. Give everyone the documentation that they want. It may seem fruitless to print out a 2,000-page binder of line item items, but people want them. It's a public document. Give it to them. We can make PDFs. We can do the work, but it is a new day. We had an election, and for a lot of people, it didn't go the way they wanted. And for a lot of people, it did. And, you know, we really do need this money. We really do need a plan. I really do urge you to do the typical 5-year strategic plan with timelines, goals, budget drivers. I know I sound like a broken record. I said it every meeting last fall, but we need that because that's what makes up the sausage. And that's how you sell the sausage, is with the plan, the backup, the data. And I said it last year, if you do the plan, I will be the first foot soldier out there selling it, but you need to do the plan. Congratulations, Sarah. Congratulations, Emily. Congratulations, Allison. Let's all come together and let's get it done.
Thank you, Katie. I see John Prindiville's hand is in the air.
Hi, Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Congratulations, first of all, Sarah. That was amazing. I'm really proud of you. You had an amazing election, and congratulations again to Allison for winning her seat. That's great. When I was at the meeting when they were actually presenting the override, one of the questions I asked was, if this override does not pass, will the administrator, Dr. Bucky, reach out to the select board and access the ARPA funds for the security cameras that we were requesting for the technology build for the first year of the override? Now that the override hasn't passed yet, is there a kind of consensus around the school committee that this is something that they would like to pursue in order to pay for the $880,000 worth of security upgrades to the schools?
Thank you, John. Later on in our agenda, I'm sure you'll get some information that pertains to your comments. But as is typical, we don't per se answer comments, but we'll try to address them at the appropriate agenda item.
Okay.
Julie Duggan, I see your hand up in the air. Julie, it looks like you are unmuted, but I can't hear you. No, I still no sound. Sorry. I'll tell you what, though, if you work it out, we will come back at the end of the meeting and I'll do a second round of public comment. I do not see anybody else's hand raised, and nor do I see anyone in the audience that looks fidgety, like they want to go to the mic. So I will move us along to our consent action and agenda items. Our minutes were in the Dropbox. We have the minutes from 3/28, 22, 5/19, 22, 6/2, 22. I will ask for a motion to approve these.
So moved.
Moved by Sarah Gold, seconded by Megan Taylor. I just want to note that Allison will need to abstain from these, as she was not on the committee during these meetings. So as the meetings roll on that she's present for, you can approve those minutes. I'll do a roll call vote. Sarah Gold.
Yes.
Megan Taylor. Emily Barron.
Yes.
Sarah Fox. Yes. Moving along to finance and organizational, we have a schedule of bills also in the Dropbox. I'd like to, does anybody have a motion to approve the schedule of bills totaling $4,379.25?
So moved.
Moved by Megan,
Seconded.
seconded by Sarah Gold. Roll call vote. Sarah Gold,
Yes.
Megan Taylor,
Yes.
Emily Barron,
Yes.
Allison Taylor,
Yes.
Sarah Fox. Yes, that moves that motion along. Also in the Dropbox is a memo from Michelle Cresta. I don't know if Michelle wants to speak to this.
Sure. So we had received some bids yesterday for our service and maintenance contracts. It's that time of year. We look at awarding them for the upcoming year. Many of our contracts are joint with the town, and 2 of these contracts we are ready to recommend the award this evening. Both contracts are joint with the town, so it will also require select board action at their next meeting in July. I've been in touch with them regarding that agenda item. So the low bid for our elevator maintenance was received from Embry Elevator, or Embry and White Inc., doing business as Embry Elevator of Woburn. This is our third year with Embry Elevator. And the low bid came in at $69,800. This is the combined cost for, or estimated cost for town and school, and will be billed appropriately to each portion to the town and the school. So I would like to request recommendation or award of that contract. And the second bid that we are prepared to award is our on-call plumbing contract. The low bid was received from E. Amonte and Sons of Salem in the amount of $57,820. This is also a joint town and school contract. This contractor had not previously held our on-call plumbing contract in the recent years that I can find any history on, but they are the contractor that worked on the Lucretia and Joseph Brown School. And I actually do have experience with them in a previous district as well, and they come with great recommendations as well. So we will be in good hands. So I recommend that we award that second contract to them as well. If there are any questions? There are some of the bids, I just want to add that we did not receive any responses. So we will put them back out to bid, and most likely at our summer retreat, there will be some more contracts to award, but really the elevator and the plumbing are two of the more timely contracts to award.
Now, Michelle, do you have any concerns that we've gotten no response to the bids?
No, they were smaller contracts, and the roofing bid, we actually received, I want to say 5 or 6 responses, and we're trying to vet them because a lot of the companies we weren't familiar with.
Okay, thank you very much, Michelle. So I'm going to ask for a motion to award a 1-year contract for elevator maintenance to Embry and White Incorporated, doing business as Embry Elevator, in the amount of $69,800, and to authorize the chair to sign the contract on behalf of the committee.
So moved.
Moved by Sarah Gold,
I'll second.
seconded by Megan Taylor. Roll call vote. Sarah Gold,
Yes.
Megan Taylor, Emily Barron,
Yes.
and Allison Taylor.
Yes.
Sarah Fox, yes, the motion carries. I'll ask for a second motion to award a 1-year contract for all on-call plumbing services to E. Amonte and Sons Incorporated in the amount of $57,820, and to authorize the chair to sign the contract on behalf of the committee.
So moved.
Moved by Sarah Gold,
Second.
Megan Taylor.
The other Taylor.
Oh, Allison.
It's gonna happen a lot, I'm sorry.
I am gonna have a really, with the 2 Sarahs and the 2 Taylors, I'm gonna screw up. So roll call vote is Sarah Gold,
Yes.
Megan Taylor,
Yes.
Emily Barron,
Yes.
Allison Taylor,
Yes.
and Sarah Fox is a yes. Thank you very much. This brings us to school committee discussion items. In the Dropbox, we had policy FFA memorials. One question I had was, we had talked about adding the line that
Yeah.
all memorials would require a vote of the school committee, and I didn't see that in the Dropbox.
Yeah, so I apologize. I didn't get that to Lisa in time. So I actually sent it really late, just before the meeting. I think Lisa actually dropped it into the folder, but it's in your email as well, with the changes of taking out the CD-ROMs and then the approval. Hold on, I have it. Any addition or removal of a permanent memorial shall require a vote by the school committee.
Okay. I have not gotten a chance to, I didn't see that last revision in there, but I'm happy if everyone else did have a chance to look at that. I'm happy to move that along and just abstain. If we have because we have read that policy, and this would be the 3rd reading. So if there's a motion that you want to approve that, we can do that tonight. Otherwise, we can put it on for our next meeting.
I mean, if everyone else is fine to vote on it, I say just vote on it so we're not holding up anything with what the boosters are doing.
Okay, that sounds perfect. Sarah Gold, would you mind reading the policy again?
Do you want me to read the entire thing?
We have to do one more reading of it.
Yeah, so we don't actually have to read it aloud. Like the reading is sort of having it at the meeting and talking about it and making sure that, that we're all on board with it.
Okay, so Megan, did you want to make the motion to approve policy FFA for memorials?
Can I just say so moved?
So moved. And second,
I'll second it.
seconded by Sarah Gold. Roll call vote, Sarah Gold,
Yes.
Megan Taylor,
Yes.
Emily Barron,
Yes.
Allison Taylor,
Yes.
Sarah Fox, yes. Oh, Sarah Fox, abstain, sorry. That moves us along to school committee summer retreat date and discussion. So what I would like to do, if no one is opposed, use one of the apps or the emails that go out that people can kind of plug in their dates that work for them, and just whatever date it regurgitates back to us that is a common date, we'll book it on that. But if there's any specific times people want to avoid, feel free to state that or let us know. And then we also had opened up if anybody had specific MASC items. I know they have MASC puts out a multitude of different workshops they can do. If there is specific requests for workshops, we can listen to that now, or if you want some time to look at them and come back. I think that, we can decide as a group what we think those workshops would best serve us moving forward.
Can I just clarification, Sarah, is there a specific app you want us to use for that?
I will pull one up, and then it's an email that goes out that you just literally click on the dates when you receive it that work for you, and then essentially it regurgitates back like this works for all 5 or not.
So you'll just send that out to us?
Yep, I will coordinate with Lisa to get that out to everybody.
And we don't have another meeting now booked before the summer retreat, so should we just send you whatever we want to see, whatever MASC stuff we want, because we won't have a chance?
Yeah, unless I didn't know if people had some items today. If not, if you want to send it, and if there's a common theme, then I will coordinate with Dorothy because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to coordinate with Dorothy to see what dates she's available, and then I'll put them out to the group. And if whatever one comes out that works for everybody according to Dorothy's schedule, we'll move from there. So if people have a common theme right now they want to put out there, I'm happy to hear that now. Or if you want to, I can send out the link to the different ones they have, and if people want to review and then just get back to that.
Yeah, I think I didn't say it loud. I'm sorry, Sarah. I would like time to review. Full disclosure, have not looked at them. I've been to the MAC.
Okay.
I have not looked at those, so I would love a moment more to do that.
Okay.
Is there a time frame that we're going to be doing the retreat? Like a ton?
I would like to do it, if it works for everybody, at the end of July. I think that the first 2 weeks of July, I know, at least for myself, are very hectic. But I don't want to put it off too far, because I do feel that we may not be able to squeeze what we need to squeeze into one day. Depending on what comes out of that, we may want to have some additional time over the summer. Because as we've heard, the need for funding has not gone away. And I think the sooner we can kind of get a jump on that. So I would like to have one day dedicated more to our typical retreat with our items with Dorothy and things like that. And then maybe the other one, a workshop on goal setting and, setting up how we're going to move through this process and start very early getting that done. But I was thinking, sometime that either 3rd or 4th week in July, if that time period, if no one's traveling.
I'm gone the last week of July.
Okay.
That 3rd week or all of July, I have work commitments Monday and Wednesday, just as a heads up. That might just narrow down the dates.
I'm sorry, just Monday and Wednesday, you said?
Yeah, I have to be on site Monday and Wednesday.
Okay, so no Monday and Wednesday, and no last week of July. If we had to move into the first week of August, are folks okay with that? Anybody traveling?
I'm away the first 2 weeks of August.
First 2 weeks. So it looks like we'll be meeting on Thursday or Friday in the 3rd week of July. let me just talk to Dorothy, unless John, did I just hear John is, unless John's traveling then?
No, but through the chair, one option that we have is Stoneman, Chandler, and Miller. I think we have a training that they would be able to provide, so it might be helpful to reach out to Colby Brunt, and I'm happy to do that if you'd like for me to.
Oh, that's okay. So you and I will definitely, I think, have a touch base in the next few days, John. And then we can work that out with Colby as well as Dorothy and figure out what works on that Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. And we'll come up with something. So that gets us through that item. On here, it's school committee operating protocols and procedures. Now, that is an item that we typically review during our retreat, and if amendments need to be made to that, we have the discussion for that. And I'm going to carry that on to the retreat to talk about. That way Allison has some time to familiarize herself with that, come up with any questions or concerns. Any other member can come up with any questions and concerns, and we'll definitely make that a priority item on our summer retreat.
Sure. Just so you know, because you're obviously running a meeting that I planned, which is hard. So I just put that on there literally just so that I knew we would have a new member, and that new member would have our operating protocols and everything, and that we could like have it in the, stated in the meeting and move it just like that.
Okay. And I know every year we've kind of tweaked a little bit. You learn from the past, we learn there's things that were there that we didn't use or whatever. So I still will make that an item on the retreat just because I think it's good for us to review. So then we have the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents and School Committees joint November conference. We do get a discounted rate for signing up early, an early bird rate. So if there's members of our committee that are interested in going to that, I think it's fruitful. Definitely, John, I believe, is definitely going to that. So we'll reserve that. But if there's anybody else that knows for sure that they'd like to commit to that.
I would love to go. Yeah.
Okay. And I know last year, Sarah can talk about this. You did you go down and stay, Sarah, or did you do some as like a day trip?
Yeah, I've gone twice now. And so with my first year on the committee, I did it. And then I don't think we did it because we had Bill, the interim, that second year, and then COVID hit. So this past, like this one that we just finished was the kind of the next one. So I've done two, and yeah, they're really great. It's really enjoyable. The first time I did just the day trip to Hyannis and back. And it wasn't that bad, but it was a lot. Yep. And so this time I stayed over and was able to take a few more courses. So it was nice. Yeah.
Just
I hate her.
Megan, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. I can't hear anybody anymore.
Sorry, someone unmuted themselves, so I don't. A mute all got pressed.
Okay.
Sarah, what I was saying is that in the summer, there's also like a mini conference, July 15th and 16th. And I know I went to that my first year just as a way to kind of like start to get introduced to the larger MASC. It was a good way to network.
Okay.
You can do it, it's over 2 days, but if if there's just things you want to do on Saturday, I think it's in Framingham, so it's not quite as bad if you drive.
Right.
But you might just want to have a look. There might be something there that's at least, useful or thought provoking. Sarah, just so you know, there's also a session there on the role of the chair and public comment. So just throwing it out there that it may be worthwhile to at least.
No, definitely. I was actually going to say, I will have no tiny babies at that point or have any other reason to need to stay so close. And for work, I used to do the day trip back and forth to the ferry quite often. So I think I will try to attend both those days and do some seminars as just long day trips. But I encourage, if anybody on the board decides they want to go, in addition to Allison and I, to reach out and we can facilitate that.
Probably, it might, I mean, I would probably be interested in going again, for at least one of the days. So I think, as I talked with Lisa about this last week, I think if we were to purchase, like, for 3 committee members, I think last year, I think Megan was gonna come with and then couldn't at the last minute, and they were good about refunding it. So I think if we get the locked in rate, and then if somebody, somebody else wants to go or I can't go, it's flexible.
Okay, so that's very good to know. Thank you for sharing that. And I will reach out to Lisa as well to take care of that. Subcommittee and liaison updates. So one thing I did see David Harris was on here. I thought if he's still on, let me see if I don't know if he's still on. I was going to still invite David and I'll reach out to him to periodically give us updates on the Brown School. I know everyone thinks the project's done. It's not, there's still some closeout. I know I saw a lot of people on site this week. So if David just wants to pop on and, because he still is the chair of that committee, and give us an update on the school building committee.
And did Julie figure out her audio connection? I don't know if you want to ask.
Yeah. Well, I'll look back to that. I think I surprised David with inviting him to do that. So I will say I did see Exquisite on site. They're our landscape company. I know that was one of the final punch list items. I've seen them several days in a row now, which is, exciting to see that we're getting into these very final phases in the closeout. And I will work with David to see if at one of our next meetings, he wants to just kind of give us an overview of how that closeout's going. We will, once we convene at the summer retreat and assign our subcommittee and liaisons, I think one of the things I would recommend is having a facilities meeting very quickly. Some of the items in question 1 heavily impact the schools. And we'll want to have a facilities meeting quite quickly so that now that we know we have the funding for those items, we follow through on how that is going to be initiated and followed through on, and what the timeline is, so we stay on top of it.
I have one question.
Yes.
On the facilities portion at Brown, I know we just had our first field day there. We had it at the Tower Loop. It was amazing. A lot of folks have asked about the field portion of the upper playground at Brown and when that can be used, and wanting just more of an understanding as to why it's not allowed to be used, because obviously the children want to run and play. And certainly I understand it's new, but I think the community would like probably to know that. I'm curious myself. I know
The reason we put that on hold, and I'm sure I will get a phone call later because I'm sure I'm going to butcher this a little bit, the particulars. But when we decided to put the sod down, it really takes a specific amount of time to take root. Otherwise, if you just let everybody go on it right away, we would have invested $70,000 and it would have died right away. And part of the new building for all of our systems, including things like the landscaping, we have a warranty on some of it. So with that comes the care instructions, and they tell you how long to let it sit to do its thing. And I know that the sod needed to knit in. And if we don't use their care plan, and again, I know I'm butchering this, if we don't use that, we void our warranty. So
I had heard something along those lines, but I didn't want to butcher it further. So I figured I would,
I think I butchered it pretty well right there. I'm sure Catherine Martin, who's on this building committee with us and is our resident expert on landscape, is probably cringing right now. But I do think that we are hopefully nearing the end of that. And I believe when we go back in the fall, there should have been enough time for that to have done what it needs to do. And we will be fully functioning. But I will say, Tower's partnership with Brown and letting us use that center circle was awesome. That worked out really, really well. What a great space. And it just goes to show, how well the various parts of our community come together to kind of help each other. And so that was a great collaborative piece of that.
It was really fun watching community members that just live
in the area as they were walking by, stop and watch, you know, the water balloons or have your hands full or noodle run, because I was there volunteering for my son's class. So it was a wonderful partnership with them for sure. And it's such a great location because it's so public. So I think a lot of folks enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Nice to see kids out playing together again. I think that's
It was really, I heard a lot of people talking about what a breath of fresh air. It's normalcy. We're back to normalcy. It was really great. As far as the reassignments of some subcommittee and liaisons, we've kind of tried out different ways of doing it in the past. I would just ask that everybody come to the summer retreat with some ideas of what subcommittees you'd like to be on, what SACs you might be interested in, and that we just have a dialogue and kind of figure out where everybody's best fit is and move from there. And also, if there's a subcommittee that we haven't had in the past, but committee members feel really strongly has been lacking and may be helpful in moving us forward, that might be a great idea to bring forward as well.
Sorry, I just have a question on that. Do you want us to send you our, I don't know what the right word is, requests in advance, just so you can kind of like put together a first pass, and then we can
I think that might be good, because for instance, there may be, you know, it may be clear cut that there may be one that only two people are interested in, and it makes that one a little more clear cut. But I also don't want any of you to feel like this is a decision. I'm not going to make this decision unilaterally. I want us to talk about it and figure out what works for us all moving forward. So definitely send those to me, and I'll compile a list just for organization's sake, and then we'll move forward. And prior to that, I will get a list out to everyone so that you know what the various, just to refresh our minds, what the various subcommittees are, because some of them don't meet all the time. Safety this year was a new exciting monthly one, but in the past I somewhat used to forget about it because it wasn't one that met. So I'll make sure to get that out to everybody.
I actually, I'll work with you offline on this, but I've been in contact with the Beverly chair about a different subcommittee that we've not had in the past on kind of a teaching and learning one and curriculum. So I'll kind of fill you in and we can, present that at the retreat as well.
Oh, I'd love that information. Thank you so much, Sarah. So new business, one of the items that I wanted to bring up under new business was I would like, and this would be another subcommittee, or actually not a subcommittee, because I think actually we should have some workshops where we're all there and do this. I would like us to we did a lot of great work on planning for success. I think it was a really productive, a wonderful experience. But I think one of the things that we have heard is, although many districts in the state have moved away from a strategic plan and do planning for success, we tried it. I think what we've realized is in Marblehead, there's an expectation of what is more of a formal strategic plan, and that has been the request of the community. So I think that we need to take the work we've done for planning for success and really flesh it out to that very typical, 50-page document as we move forward and take, another bite at this apple, that we can really direct people to and say, this is exactly what is happening when, with who, and it's just very, very cleared out. It's almost like an encyclopedia, you know what I mean? So we can go to it. And I think that the community, hopefully, if we do that, will say, we asked and you answered, and here we are with our support now. So I personally would like to, to see if someone would make a motion for us to commit to working on a typical strategic plan that we would present to the community with a goal date of having a draft in early December.
I can make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. I don't know that we necessarily need to vote on it. I think this is something that we should be talking about in our retreat and figuring out, because it's hard to kind of vote on a concept and not know like what that actually means. And we did so much work with Ruth at DESE, who has done this like 12 times successfully in 12 different districts. So I think we should think through and have the conversation at the retreat on how we want to approach this. I don't actually think it's a vote that's necessary at this point because we don't actually know what we're voting on.
Well,
We can actually deliberate on, like, what does that mean? If it's not that I disagree or agree, but I don't think it's fleshed out enough to have a vote. But I'm happy to commit to talking about it, and I think we should during our retreat.
So, well, we have a second, so we definitely will have a vote. But in the discussion phase, I think that what people are looking for and what we heard from the community and we'd be voting on committing to is a traditional strategic plan. And I understand, and I was in those meetings too and saw the value of what Ruth was saying has worked in other districts. Marblehead is steeped in tradition, and we hold tight to a lot of our traditions. And I do feel that in order to be successful and to make the community feel heard, we need to commit to doing a traditional 5-year strategic plan that takes that 2-page document and really teases out the finite details. I would like, and that is what I would like to see. And that's why I said that we could take a vote that we will start that path, that we will start that work. So
I think we should take what we've already done, so we're not restarting.
Exactly. That's a great starting point.
So I think we should take what we've done. I think we should have Ruth come back, and we've already got initiatives assigned to every one of those themes. And so now it's just filling those out for 2, 3, 4, and 5 years, right? So we've done a lot of this work, and I would hate for us to redo the, what's the word? Redo the wheel? What's the word?
Reinvent the wheel.
Sorry, it's been a long week. I think we should take what we've done because we put so much work into that. And there were 25 members of the community and our staff that were involved in that. And Sarah, as you know, we went out to the community and talked to like hundreds of people. So we have so much data already wrapped up in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think in my mind, and this is what we should be talking about at the retreat, is how do we take it to the next step? And I personally don't think that the typical 50-page strategic plan is the right way to go, because I think that's a lot of work that doesn't really provide us much benefit. So we should just be taking what we've already done, which took a lot of work and effort, and just taking it to the next step, which is what Ruth had suggested anyway. So we're just taking the next step with her.
So I'll pipe in here too. I just want to make sure that, like Megan just said, that it is a lot of work. And so I want to make sure that when we're tasking our administrators and our staff with work, that it really is going to be able to benefit in student achievement. So I just want us to sort of, I don't have the answers on that. It's just what I needed to say.
I mean, I would recommend having Ruth come to our retreat, and we can use that second day or half a day to have her walk us through taking those next steps, because she's very experienced. And like I said, she's done this successfully in at least 12 different districts, including her own superintendent.
And I understand from my point of view, what I'm saying is I understand it can be successful in some districts. What I am saying is I do not feel it is successful or will be successful in Marblehead. I feel to get our voters to support this, they want to see that giant body of work. They want to see what you see in Milton, what you see in Lexington. They want to see that. So when someone says, what are we doing on year 3? They open it and they say, on year 3, we are doing X, Y, and Z. This is the person spearheading it. This is the measurement to how we're going to track that goal. This is the expected outcome. These are the associated budget drivers. I think that we tried it this way because this was, in fairness to everyone that we follow, this is a movement in many districts that they are moving towards. We tried it and we went out and we talked to hundreds of people. We did get a lot of feedback. I still have photos of all those giant Post-its with all those linear items of exactly the meat that people wanted. I think what we need to do is take those themes, take the plan for success. That is our guiding principle. That is our opening of the document. But then what we need to do is break that down into very specific paths. And it is a tremendous amount of work, and I understand that, but it's meaningful work that I think will net us the result of funding what we need to fund. This was the number one thing I think that held people up. And I think that if we really want to change the trajectory and respond to the electorate with fidelity, it's my opinion, we really need to commit to a traditional strategic plan.
I just want to be clear. My motion was in no disrespect to what I know to be a tremendous amount of work that went into that. I've made these not for educational districts, but in my real job, my day job, I should say, so many times. So I fully respect the amount of work. I would never want to start from scratch. I would never want to I would never suggest that we don't start with that bolus of work. It was tremendous. I would love to have Ruth back. I think that's a wonderful idea to just kind of add on to us. What's the next step? What can we take? The next step we can take to have some benchmarks and to have some level set, which shows, hey, community, we're listening to you, right? And here's what we started with. We think it's great. And I think a lot of people, I don't want to discount the work. I think a lot of people in the community loved this work as a start. And I think just taking it to the next level with specific dates and specific goals for each year and having Ruth there to do it, I think would be a great driver.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure.
I think what I'm having a hard time committing to doing a traditional 50-page strategic plan without even knowing what, I mean, I think
Gotcha.
we're all saying the same thing.
Yep, I think you're right.
I think we're all saying the same approach, which is exactly why I said I don't think we need to vote on this, because I think we're voting on something that we don't actually know what we're going to deliver. And I think that ties us into something that we're not sure we can commit to, because what we've put on the table isn't definitive. And then once we vote it, we have to deliver it.
Right.
So I think we all have the same intention, but I'm not prepared to vote for this because it's not clear enough to me.
Okay. Understood. That's fair.
So there is a motion on the table, so I will call a vote for it. And the motion was for us to commit to the planning process to develop a traditional strategic plan. So I will call a roll call vote. Sarah Gold.
Can I ask a question? Yeah. No, I did not. I may have the same question. I might.
So I think what I'm hearing the hesitation is, so correct me if I'm wrong, is just when you say, so that I fully support listening to the community. That was my whole mantra this entire time. I'm steadfast in that. I hear what Megan's saying about what does a traditional strategic plan. Does that mean it has to be 50 pages of I don't know what, or can we amend? Can I amend my motion?
Absolutely. I love an amended motion. So let me just pause. So
on my first meeting, I know.
I know it's intimidating. You're like, I don't know.
Is that the right word?
You can amend and you can revoke is the wrong word also, Tony. There's
okay.
Rescind. You can make motion to rescind your.
I think I would like to amend my motion. Pressure. And I would like for us to commit to bringing Ruth, is that her name, right? Okay, Ruth back. Obviously I would like to meet her, and I would like to commit to bringing Ruth back and talking through what exactly we can commit to at our retreat to expand upon this strategic plan, because I think we probably won't pass if we just go with, yes, we want to do a traditional strategic plan. we don't really know what that means. We don't really know what that entails. So if the first step at the very least can be to committing to bringing Ruth back and having a discussion and seeing where we can expand and how we can provide more detail on a yearly basis with benchmarks and whether there's money attached, initiatives attached, all of those different things, and starting the first step to that, towards expanding the plan that we have.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna follow up with that I think we all agree with it. I don't think we actually need to vote on it. I think we're ready to vote when we're actually ready to take an action.
Which I'm fine with. I'm a stickler for the Roberts rule. So just, if you would just want to rescind it. Can I get a motion to rescind?
So moved.
Seconded.
So I will just say that to Megan's point, it's rescinded, assuming we voted through, but to rescind it, but to do what you've just said, Allison, to bring Bruce in and let's see how we can flesh this out a little bit more, give some more detail in it. Whatever pages that ends up amounting to, kind of put forward the next steps in the process.
Right. Yeah. And then at our first meeting, in the fall, we can I'm happy to do the motion then, back on the table of exactly what we can commit to provide, because I do think we need to hear the community. I do think we need to respond to them. And I do think that we need, as a community member, I even want more detail. I've asked about it before, so I am comfortable with that.
Okay. All right. So I think what we're here, I think the message to the community is we've heard you, and we know we need to take what we have. We need to flesh it out more. We need to give more details, and we're going to figure out the process to do that.
And communicate that with them. And, ensure we're communicating that with them. Ensure that they feel heard, ensure that they know we've all just agreed we want to expand upon that. I would agree that maybe jumping in neck deep can be a little bit scary for that, especially if we don't really know if it's neck deep or not. And so I think I want to commend everybody here. I think it's a big giant step that we all are agreeing that this is what we need and want to do. And so I'm proud of everybody.
I think we'll find I think we're gonna find there's not that much more to do at this point, because a lot of it's been done. It's just kind of like
laying it all out.
laying it on paper.
Sure.
And I think that's probably
yes, you could be absolutely right.
Because we know that with all of Nan's work on curriculum and scope and sequence and everything, I think and that's and the technology and that I think a lot of it.
Good, because I think John has, with his leadership team, fleshed it out more. We have not seen that document. So if John can get that to a form where we can see that document and review it in our Dropbox before we have Ruth come back, then we all know our starting point, so we know where we have to go with this. So if Dr. Bucky, if you can, take that document you guys are working from and get that to a point that where you can share that out with the committee, that would be great. And then another item for new business I wanted to bring up is
just have to speak.
Oh,
So through the chair.
yes.
So I have already reached out to Ruth. I heard the feedback from the community, and we're bringing her in to work with the leadership team on those action planning templates, which will give more meat, which I think is what people are asking for in terms of specific benchmarks and times and budget drivers. So hopefully she can work with the leadership group. We have a retreat the 2nd, 3rd, 4th of August. She's not able to be there, so she'll come in July. So hopefully I will be able to bring that to the retreat for the committee when you have your retreat.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, John.
Retreating all summer.
So I know it's one big long retreat. So another item I want to bring up for new business is that I'm going to make a commitment to try to get everything in the Dropbox by Monday prior to our meetings. I'm sure I will mess that up quite rapidly, but that during our summer retreat, we talk about a cutoff point that after which at a certain point, even if it's an agenda item, if it doesn't make it to the Dropbox, you know, we can talk about that at the retreat. But if it's 24 hours, if it's 48 hours, that agenda item will need to move to the next meeting, because it's, I think, become hard at times for us to have all the information and then to move forward on it. And that is through no fault of anybody. I mean, there has been so much on everybody's plate for the last 2 years, catching up on minutes and catching up on, our administrators have been doing multiple extra duties because of everything of COVID. So a lot of times it's hard for them to get us those reports ahead of time. So there will be a learning curve, and it will be, you know, we'll get ourselves there, but I think that needs to be what we try to get to. That's going to be my goal, to get to that. Is there any other new business from anybody on the committee? Okay. We had several letters of correspondence. Those will all be added to the meeting minutes. I think at last count in the Dropbox, we were at 5 maybe. But all of that will be added to the end of the minutes as is usual. And so if there's no other correspondence from anybody, I will ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:16.
I would just like to say thank you to everybody for making it as painless as possible. Was it painless? It wasn't necessarily painless, I'm not gonna lie, but I feel very welcomed and I'm appreciative and grateful. So from public comment, you know, I have said we have to ask the tough questions. We have to have those discussions. And, you know, the public can bring that too. And I think that's okay. And I'm appreciative of all of that from you guys.
You did
Also.
great.
So
Yeah,
thank you.
you did great.
I survived.
First one done.
Sweating.
Check that box.
Now we'll expect your minutes by Monday. Just kidding. So if I can get the motion to adjourn at 8:17.
So moved. Oh.
Seconded. Sarah Gold,
Yes.
Megan Taylor,
Yes.
Emily Barron,
Yes.
Allison Taylor,
Yes.
Sarah Fox, and we have adjourned the meeting at 8:18. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, everyone.